guys, Lemmy here. Welcome back to another art video. I just want to start off by apologizing that my video is super duper late, and I have reasons for that. But before I get too far into that, I just want to talk a little bit about what today's video is about. It's the YouTube Artist Collective's most recent theme, which was cards. I think it used to be tarot cards, but then something about offensive. Now, I don't really know anything about tarot cards. I think I've had a tarot card reading once, but I didn't know that there was a religious implication or something, because a lot of people felt kind of uncomfortable about it, so they switched it to a broad sort of theme that's cards. So if anyone wants to tell me a bit about tarot cards, because it's kind of one of those, like, I think it's one of those like future predicting things and like kind of like palm readings and stuff. So if anyone wants to tell me a little bit more about that, I'd love to learn about it. I think the cards are actually kind of really cool, but yeah, the theme is actually now just cards in general. So I decided that because I had limited time, which I will get to later with explaining, that I would do 4 artist trading cards because, hey, the theme is cards and I could make cards and they are artist cards. So to me, it sort of made sense. And the artist trading cards are the same size as the playing cards you would have in a deck. So I decided, instead of doing all 50 whatever cards, which would be insane, that I would just do 4. So I picked each of the 4 queens because I like drawing girls and I draw them fast and I don't have a lot of time. So I picked the 4 queens to draw. And so you'll see like each is a different queen of a different suit, and I had first envisioned this as sort of like the queens were all sisters and they kind of married into the suits that they are, and they have different, husbands who are like, of the different suits. So it would probably be like they were just commoners and they married into this family or whatever. But then when I started coloring, the first girl I colored was blonde because I kind of wanted them to have different color hair, but then it started to make less and less sense that they were actually sisters. So the first one was blonde, and then the second one I wanted to make her tanner than the first sister, and then I was kind of like, well, she would look really cool with black hair, but then she would look nothing like her sister. But when I drew them all out, I decided they would have kind of like the same face shape, the same height, but then when it came to coloring, I just wanted them to look completely different. So this makes no sense. All 4 of them are sisters. You don't need to know. They're just sisters and they all look completely different. I have no idea what ethnicity anybody is, but I don't really think that matters. They're all sisters. And they're all related to each other, so there. Anyway, each of the queens is drawn on watercolor paper and is watercolored, and then I took some colored pencil and I went over the outlines to kind of make a more, I guess, subdued, gentle look instead of doing crazy line art. And I tried to keep the color schemes for each of the queens to a deck of cards. So that would be the primary colors: red, blue, yellow, and then there would be black, but then also a lot of white within the cards as well, so that they would kind of look more like traditional playing cards, but also a little bit more subdued. One thing I should mention is that I also used some gold pen to add accents to each of the cards, and I also used a little bit of jelly roll to kind of emphasize certain parts of the picture or make it pop out a little bit more to your eye. Other than that, it's pretty much what I did for each of them. Okay, and my absolute favorite thing that I did in this picture was I took what do they call it? I don't know. It's a cutter that cuts the edges of the paper and it kind of makes them into a smooth curve. And I decided to I actually remembered I had that, and then I decided to use it so that they look exactly like playing cards because they're the same size, the same shape, and they have the same rounded corners, which really just made my day. I was like, ooh, whatever, these are okay. And then I cut the corners, and I was like, yes, I'm so happy right now. Each of these cards will be for sale in my store Envy. I don't know if they'll be ready for purchase at the time this video goes up because I am super late. But also I have the problem of I don't know if I should sell them individually, which would be a cheaper price, obviously, because you're not buying 4, you're just buying 1. Or if I should sell them as a lot because it's sort of a shame to break them apart. But at the same time, isn't that kind of like what collecting is? Like, I don't know. Should I just split them apart? I mean, it would be more affordable to buy one than, I mean, it would probably be the same price, honestly, if I list 4 of them as opposed to listing them individually. But it would be like a less upfront cost to get 1 card, in case you don't have the full amount for all 4. Or, I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm not really sure how I should list these or how I should sell them, but I do want to sell them. I mean, that's why I made them, for the collective, right? Each card will be signed, and on the back it will say 1 of 4, or 2 of 4, or 3 of 4, or 4 of 4, depending which sister. I'm probably just going to do it in order of the cards that I made, and yeah. And it was kind of sad because I wanted to have each sister to have a totally different skin color, but then later on I got to the curly-haired club queen, the queen of clubs, and I saw her hair, and then I just really wanted to give her freckles. And then the only color of hair that I wouldn't have planned to use would be red, and then that gave her a very pale, fair skin tone, so I was kind of bummed out about that. I wish I figured out the color schemes for the skin and the hair before I started, because like I said, I wanted to make them all sisters, I wanted to make them look alike, but then I was like, you know what, I should make them different colors. And yeah, I wish I planned that out before instead of just kind of realizing what I wanted to do halfway through, you know? So that was kind of a bummer. I do have to say that my favorite out of all of the sisters is the Queen of Diamonds, and actually that's my husband's favorite as well. So let me know which one you guys like in the comment section below. I don't know, I like that one. So real quick before, well, the reason why I was late. I went to Disney World with my best friend Kara for a belated bachelorette party, and this is kind of funny because I was in the same park, Hollywood Studios, as Baylee Jae on YouTube, and I never saw her, but I did keep my eye out for her because it's just this funny story where when we got engaged, because Baylee got married recently and so did I, when we got engaged, I was a few days, like 1 or 2 days before when Baylee got engaged. And then when Baylee got married, I was about like a week or 2 weeks ahead of when Baylee got married. But then I immediately went on my honeymoon. And it turns out that when I went on my belated bachelorette party with my best friend, that was when Baylee was on her honeymoon. So I just thought it was really crazy and mind-blowing that we were in the same amusement park at the same time on the same planet without any sort of contact or knowing what was happening beforehand. I think it was literally the day before I was streaming, and then I went to Florida, and then we went to the parks. So then someone in my stream was like, Bailey's at Disney. I was like, what? Like, it was just so crazy. I just thought that was like the craziest thing. But no, I kept my eye out for a pink-haired Baylee, but I never saw one in the wild, and I was really sad. And I was like, oh. But I also didn't want to harass her because she was on her honeymoon, and you know, if I bumped into her, that's one thing, but I'm not gonna go running around Disney stalking her, because that would be weird. So I went to Disney, then we went to Kara's family's house for a few days, and the thing was that I uploaded 2 videos in advance before I left. And I wanted to get the YouTube Artist Collective video done before I left, but I just didn't have the time because I wanted to do the 4 cards and I just didn't have the time to do it. I was making videos for Sakura of America and doing other stuff and making ads for them, and I didn't have the time. So when it came to coming back, I knew I had several days, the Wednesday when we came in, the Thursday next day, and Friday to all get my video done. Except that the plane airline thingy didn't want to send us home. So we got there extremely early, got through security, all that stuff, make sure we were on time, and they kept delaying our flight. And they told us whenever this plane comes in, which was delayed, that we would leave and we would go back to New York. And this was a plane of New Yorkers. So when that plane finally came in around midnight and the guy comes off the plane and says, "No, the flight's been canceled, you're not going home," every person on the plane just started cursing the guy out and like yelling, because we were waiting there for many hours without anyone telling us. Now, this also, they should have known that the pilot had too many hours already before he even left, and they should have told us, like, okay, that it's been canceled, go do something else, but they didn't tell us that. So everyone was really furious. They went to the desk to do the tickets again. We got vouchers for hotels, but there wasn't enough for everybody, so the people that didn't get hotel rooms had to sit in the airport lobby all night, and the airport only gave them $50 compensation for having to do that, which I thought was like really awful. But Kara and I got a room that had ants and crumbs on the floor that didn't belong to us. And also the conditioner bottle was half empty. So it was like a really sketchy hotel, but the hotel chain actually is really nice. So it blows my mind that they let that happen. And when we told the people down below at the counter, like, the room's full of ants and it's disgusting, they're like, "Oh, that sucks." I was like, whoa, okay. So now I have to call these people and complain, because my moral fiber is like, you know, you were paid for the room and there's ants and the guy really doesn't care, and like, how can you have an employee that represents your hotel chain that just says, "Oh, that sucks that there's ants in there"? Like, that's just, I don't know, I'm like, I have to call someone. I have to tell someone. But honestly, it didn't even really matter, because as soon as I almost fell asleep, I had to wake up, shower, and get ready to go home again, because it was an early flight the next day. So I got no sleep for 24 hours. And then we flew home, and by the time that I said hi to my parents and we went out for breakfast and then I went home, by the time I got home, I just kind of blacked out the rest of the day because I just couldn't stay awake any longer. I was really hoping I could start working on the video and like finishing up the cards and all that, but I just couldn't keep my eyes open. Unfortunately, when I woke up the next day, I had a horrible migraine. And when I get migraines, light really kills my eyes, and I get nauseous, and my head really hurts. And all I had was aspirin, which also upsets your stomach. So I was kind of like afraid of taking aspirin, but I did. And then it got like so much worse and I almost threw up. And then I was like, okay, well now I can't take any more aspirin because I don't want to throw up. Like, I don't want to. So the whole day was spent just me being in a lot of pain and hiding under the covers and trying to not move my head around. So that was really terrible. And that was on Friday. Saturday came around. Oh, hi, Percy. You want to sit with our motor? Okay, I love you. Mwah. So, Saturday came around and I was feeling so much better. I was just so happy that I wasn't sick. And so I worked on making the 4 cards because they weren't totally finished. And then I was working on getting the materials I needed to put together the video and render it. And that went into Sunday because usually it takes me a few days to make a video. I'm very slow at editing videos and I'm also not very good at it. And so video editing takes much longer than actually making any artwork that I make on my channel, which is kind of upsetting because, I want to spend more time doing art, but I just don't have that time because I'm busy sitting in front of the computer staring at it and drooling. Also, when I had to render down the footage, my computer kept crashing and getting blue screens, which isn't good. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know what's going on with my computer. I might have to be concerned at one point. But don't worry, because today, Monday, you finally get your video. And once again, I'm like really sorry that it took me so long. I mean, it should have been enough time if things went correctly, and just nothing did. So I've participated in every YouTube Artist Collective theme, and I've always been on time, and this is kind of like the first time that it really just everything on the planet just aligned and was like, no, you're not gonna finish this for Friday. So once again, I'm really sorry. I hope that you guys like this picture and maybe you thought some of the stories were fun or interesting. Let me know what you think of the picture, which girl's your favorite. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again on Friday for another art video. I'm not even sure what I'm making on Friday, so I gotta get on that. I love you guys. Bye.